Hey YouTube, it's Tempest CFV. I'm here with an Ancient Dragon deck profile. When this deck came out, I wasn't really super impressed by it. It seemed okay, but it didn't seem like anything special, like anything super amazing or anything. And like honestly, it really isn't anything super special or amazing. But um, the thing with it is actually it's really, like I said, it's not super special or amazing, but it is consistent, and I really like its playstyle. Believe it or not, Ancient Dragons play a lot like the old Pale Moon did, um, wherein if you have an attack that hits, you can counter loss one, put something away into soul and get something else out. So when something hits, basically you restand something. The only difference being this deck just stands basically everything for free, and it doesn't actually stand anything. But like what it does is it retires something, and then when something retires, it'll superior call something else. So it's basically getting a stand or getting a free column. So it's really interesting. I'll go over all the mechanics of it in a bit, but yeah, let's just get to the deck profile and I'll try to explain everything as we go along. So your starter is Ancient Dragon Baby Rex. This is your the first of your combo pieces. He's a 5k boost, Pioneer starter, and then when he is killed, if you have a Tachikaze Vanguard, you can counterblast one, superior call a grade 3 card called Tyranno Legend from your deck. Tyranno Legend is an 11k attacker, so it's really like it's just good for helping you make columns. Basically, when he dies, you trade him for like an 11k attacker, so it's pretty good. There's a lot of attackers in this deck, so I kind of wish he would let you search out a grade 1 instead sometimes, but honestly, his skill is really good. And then for triggers, we have 4 Ancient Dragon crits, 3 non-Ancient Dragon crits, 4 Ancient Dragon draws, 1 non-Ancient Dragon draw, and then 4 Ancient Dragon heals. The main grade 3 in this deck has a special counterblast 2 to let you give him 5,000 power. So you kind of, it's not like effect that's mandatory like Alfred or Gauntlet Buster where you have to play all Eradicators because their effects like are so good. But with this deck, you kind of want to, like, there's times when you need to use it, so you kind of want to have as many Ancient Dragon cards as you can. So max out on those triggers if you can. I've actually found that stands are not bad in this deck. I feel like the crits and draws are just more helpful, just because of the way I play it. Because more than likely, you'll be attacking with something, and then attacking with something else, and then retiring 3, and then swinging with your Vanguard. So stand triggers actually can be helpful, but not always. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't focus on it. I'd play 8 crit 4 draw or 7 crit 5 draw if you can. For grade 1s, we have 4 Triplasma. He's the 10k vanilla for the deck. If he's a 7k boost, or he's a 10k attacker if you have an Ancient Dragon Vanguard. It's really good. And then 4 Iguana Gorg. This is your second combo piece for the deck. When he dies, if you have an Ancient Dragon Vanguard, it has to be Ancient Dragon. It can't be Tachikaze, it has to be Ancient Dragon. You can counterblast 1, superior call him from drop zone. So this works during battle, it works during main phase, it works during ride phase, it works at all times. It can help you set up columns. And the reason that this card is actually, because when I first saw this card, I was like, okay, so it's kind of like Skype Terra, right? You can superior call it when something dies, right? But actually, it's not as good as Skype Terra because Skype Terra goes back to your hand and can be used as a defensive card. So in that regard, Skype Terra is actually better. However, in this deck with the playstyle that you have, with trying to get in multiple attacks, being able to superior call it from deck or from graveyard back to the field is actually a lot more helpful. So yeah, you want to play for this guy if you can because he's a combo piece and you want to try and open him. Yeah, you probably don't need to see more than 2 in a game, but like I said, you want to open him if you can. So 2 Galling Owl, this is another part of your combo. Him and the grade 2 version of him are like the same thing, but they're both really good. When you swing with this guy, you can retire a rear guard to give him 5,000 power. That makes him a 7k booster or a 12k attacker if you need him. That's why he's only at 2, is because there's a grade 2 version of him, and like there's a 10k attacker that's a grade 1. It's like you already have this guy doing the same thing, so he's really only in here if you miss your grade 2 of the combo. So with normal, what you'll do is you'll boost him with a grade 1, and then you'll like have this boosting something, and you'll swing with the boost, and then you'll like retire something with this, and then you'll be able to either call this back out standing behind another unit, or you'll be able to call it in the front row. and give it trigger power. So that's usually what the main combo is. And then the last card is 4 perfect cards. Ideally, you want to play 4 Paraswall, the Ancient Dragon perfect card. I don't have 4 of them. I have Arcbirds. Like I said, play 4 of these if you can because of the special counterblast, and also because if you need to commit these to the board for boosters, because you don't throw your Iguana Gorgs or whatever, the Ancient Dragon grade 3 can only retire Ancient Dragon units, so you want to have that for that. For grade 2s, I'm playing 3 10k vanillas. I was playing 4, and then I was also only playing 3 of the grade 2 version of Galing Aloe. But I found that the combo was just too good, and I really needed the grade 2 version of him more often, so I cut this down to 3. You only have 3 options for grade 2s in the deck. You have a 10k, you have a 12k, and you have a 14k by sacking one, so really it's up to you. I would max the 12k if you can, and then put either the 14k at 3 or this at 3. For my playstyle, I prefer this at 3 because I like the other guy better. And then, like I said, for the 12k, because he's like really good, you always have Ancient Dragon Vanguard at all times, except for like maybe one turn, and then he's not even relevant that one turn. So, and then yeah, for Dino Claude, like I said, when he swings, you can sack a Ancient Dragon Rearguard, and he gains 5,000 power. So he could basically swing on his own for 14, and then you can like sack something to restand or whatever. But I like him at 4 because, like I said, you kind of want to have him during the early game and the mid game to help apply pressure. So that's the only reason he's at 4. And I will go over some of the combos you can do in a minute. For grade 3s, you have 4 Spino Driver at the Break Ride. You only have 3 Ancient Dragon grade 3s you can play. You can play this. The other one, the Tyranno Legend, you can also play a counterblast one to give it 3,000 power when it attacks. So you don't really have any options, but this card is really good. When you break ride it, you retire 2 rear guards, draw 2 cards, and then your Vanguard gains 10k and a crit. So it's pretty good. You can combo that with your starter or your more likely your Iguana Gorg to kind of mitigate the minus you take. And drawing more cards is actually a lot better. And then 2 Tyranno Legend and then 2 Dark Rex. One of these is getting cut for a third one of these because of your starter. With the starter's ability, when it dies, you have to search out one, so that leaves only 2 left in deck. And he's your ideal late game grade 3, not this guy. So, Tyranno Legend lets you sack 3 Ancient Dragon Rearguards when he attacks to give him 10k and a crit. And you can also counterblast 2 Ancient Dragons to give him 5,000 power. He's also got 11k body, which is really good. Tachikaze didn't have that yet, so now they do. It's really good. Basically, what this guy is you can attack with him boosted or unboosted, and you still applying the same amount of pressure because 3 stages with 2 crit is basically perfect card range already, so that's just really good. And like I said, you can Spirit Call him from deck with the starter's ability, so you want to play 3 of them at least, if not 4. The only reason I'm playing Dark Rex is because I don't have 4 of this guy, and because it's a really awesome tech. If you have Spino on Vanguard Circle and you have Dark Rex bound with his effects, and your Spino Driver's attack fails, you can actually retire 5 rearguards to break ride Dark Rex using his ability on top of this and swing for another 20k with 2 crit and draw 2 cards. So it's just a random play. I would only play 1 of it. Same with this guy. Like, you can still do Dark Rex with this guy. You don't get the break ride, but you can still like do stuff with it, is what I'm saying, you know, and you can still get the extra attack in. So it's just a random tech. You don't have to play that. You can play 4 of the Tyranno Legend if you want to, but I really like it as a random secondary finisher. So what ideally you would do with this deck is, because normally what you want to do with this deck is the playstyle is 7 crit 5 draw. You only need to commit 5 rearguards to the field at once, or 4 rearguards at once. You don't even need to commit 5 until like late game. Because assuming you have like counterblasts open, like let's say we have perfect guard and a heal that didn't go off and a draw in our damage zone, right? Alright, so this is us going second on turn 2, right? So we're gonna ride Iguana Gorg, and we have our starter over here, and we're gonna call Galing Aloe. We're gonna call this guy. We're gonna call Galing Aloe over here. And I'll explain why in a minute. Do I want to do that actually? No, we don't. Hold on. I want to call Dino Claude here. We want to call Iguana Gorg behind our Vanguard, and then we want to call either, let's say it's a Triplasma, we'll call it Triplasma over here, and we'll have Gatling Aloe in our soul. Okay, so this is our turn 2. Now the cool thing with this deck is that you need to commit only like 3 or 4 rear guards at a time to the field because of this guy here. The guy, when he attacks and you retire something, you get whatever you want, right? So there's 2 ways you could do this here. The first way is you can swing with your Vanguard first and move this guy forward during your main phase, and then you can use your Dinoclaw's effect to retire your Iguanagorg, and he swings for 19. And then you can counterblast 1 to get this guy over here, and then you have 17 over here. The other way you can do that is you can have this back here, and then you can have this guy swing unboosted, use his ability to kill this, counterblast 1, and Superior Call this. That makes an 18k column over here. So yeah, that's another thing you can do. And like I said, you're only committing 4 rear guards at a time. And like after that, if you ride a Spino Driver, let's say this guy is still unboosted, now you can still swing with your Vanguard and swing with this, retire it, because it's already been boosted, call it here. I'm not sure what the ruling is, I'm not sure if you can boost with it or not, because you activate when he swings. So you may be able to boost with it, I'm not completely sure about that, don't quote me on it. And then you swing with this for another 18, right? So that's basically the combo. And if you're only committing 4 rear guards at a time, that means you can maintain your hand size, and that really helps the defense. So you don't need to push for limit break. You can actually wait until you've pressured your opponent to 4 or 5 damage, and then sit on like 3 damage until you're ready to break ride, because by then you should be winning the game. At grade 3, you should have, what were the cards I was using? I was using these. At grade 3, you should have something like this. Spino Driver is your Vanguard. You should have an Iguanagorg, either your starter and like a 12k attacker, we'll say, or you'll have like Tyranno Legend and another booster over here, and then something random boosting your Vanguard. Usually you want to have Iguanagorg behind your Vanguard because that leaves your Vanguard open to attack either second or first, depending on when you want your Gatling Aloe to attack. So we'll say this is our setup. We'll say this is our setup like this. Alright. So we haven't used our starter yet. Let's say for the sake of this that we haven't used it. Actually no, we should say that we have used it because I told you that you should try to do that turn 2. So let's say what we did was we had turn 2, we did this, or we had another one of these like over here or something, and we did that, sack this to get this, and now we have this column, and then now we have, let's say we have, this got intercepted away, so now we have this column here, and it's going to swing, swing, retire this, call that here. Alright, so now you're going to get pushed to damage. Let's put a Dark Rex over here, and then let's put, let's see, there's already a perfect card in there. Let's put a Triplasma over here. Okay, so there's your damage. So you draw, and you manage to break ride. Alright, so what does that mean? The break ride skill goes off, you can kill 2 things. Suggestion, kill this guy, because he's only 11k, right? That's only like the second strongest attacker in this deck. 10k is the weakest, and then 11, and then 12, and then 14. So chances are, if you draw another attacker, it's going to be equally as strong, or like the same power, or as this guy. So he's also not an interceptor, so you're not wasting any resources killing him if you don't have anything to replace him with. So what you do then is, and you also kill Iguanagorg here, and I'll explain why. So you draw 2 cards. Let's say you draw, for the sake of having the deck screw you over, let's say you draw Gatling Aloe. Actually, no. Let's say you draw a perfect guard and you draw a crit trigger. Okay, so now you have the defense, and you realize, crap, I don't have enough rear guards to pull off my shenanigans this turn. Okay, what do I do? Well, you do have 1 grade 1 left in your hand. I'm gonna say, for the sake, it's a Triplasma because I like Triplasma. What you can actually do here is, I think you should probably be Superior calling this back with his skill. Counterblast a non-ancient dragon because of your grade 3's ability requires Counterblast 2 ancient dragons. And then you should be, yeah, here we go. Okay, so you should be doing like this, him here, and then calling another grade 1 from hand, probably behind your Vanguard. Probably, you know, maybe not 100% on that. And then what you should be doing is swing with this. Yeah, actually, let's do it like this. This guy goes over here. Swing like this. I still haven't mastered this deck, in case you're wondering. So this is gonna be for 17. Swing, swing. If you have him, his ability, retire your Iguanagorg, call it back, and then with your Tyranno Legend, what you're gonna want to do is Limit Break, and you want to kill these and bring this out here. That way, if you get any triggers, you still have a place to put them, right? So that's what basically the point is of this card, is to have a secondary attacker left. If you have 2 of these guys out when you Limit Break, you'll have a 14k calm, or at least hit for 1 stage. 2 if you hit the trigger. It's going to be easy to guard, but it still applies more pressure since it is a 14k column. So that's basically it. One last thing. Shoutouts to my friend Zag for this. The best thing you can do is, if you don't want to use your starter's ability early game, you can actually wait and use it with Tyranno Legend. The problem with Iguanagorgs is that they're only 7k each. So if you like kill 2 of them, you only have a 14k column. Excuse me. But if you sit on your starter all game and it manages to survive the onslaught, and you have like a Triplasma over here, when you go to use his ability, when you go to use his ability, you can actually like kill these, right? And that doesn't give him the boost because you're retiring the guy behind him. But what it does let you do is use their starter's ability to superior call a Tyranno from deck, and then I guess get the Iguanagorg back for Counterblast 2, and then so now you have an 18k column to give triggers to, and you still have a 16k you haven't attacked with. So after that, what you can do is just swing, and then use this guy to either retire this and call it back here, depending on if you have damage, or retire this guy, and then that way you have your front row open for next turn if you want to play another Interceptor. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can do. Like I said, it's all restanding, it's all multiple attacks. That's the main way you play the deck, is trying to get multiple attacks off at one turn. So that's the play style. I hope it made sense. I hope the deck list made sense. If the tutorial was helpful, please be sure to give me a thumbs up, and comment below with questions or suggestions. And then if you want to see more, please be sure to subscribe. Yeah. Thank you for watching.